Good morning. Welcome to this session on the Master ICT in Business and the Public Sector. My name is Joost Visser. I'm the Program Manager of this Master. And today I will tell you all about it. So how have I structured my presentation for you today? So first I will go a little bit into the why of this Master. Why does it exist? What's the purpose of it? How is it positioned? And then we go a little bit deeper into the structure, the content of the Master, what kind of courses are there, what are the different modules you will be offered. Then we will go towards the employment perspectives of this Master, which are actually very good, but I will tell you more detail about that after that. And we will close off the session with questions and answers. So the questions have to come from you, answers from me. And please use the chat at your disposal to submit your questions. You can do that already during my presentation. And then in the end, we will pick up the questions and answer them. So let's start. So let's take one step back and look at this quote: "Software is eating the world." So this is a quote from Mark Andreessen already more than a decade ago. So at that point in time, he was a little bit visionary about this point. Seeing that the economy was changing, becoming digital, that the entire world was transforming into digital. And one of the quotes is here, for instance: "More and more major businesses and industries are being run on software and delivered as online services." That was then, and of course, he was right, because by now we all know software has eaten the world. We find ourselves currently in a society that is thoroughly an information society, which means that, information and communication technology, ICT, plays a central role in all kinds of activities in our society. So all economic and social activity is thereby also heavily dependent on IT. And that goes for all sectors of the economy, whether it's retail, manufacturing, healthcare, trade, banking, entertainment, travel, education, and of course also governments are heavily dependent nowadays on IT. And of course the government part explains in part the public sector in the title of this Master, which I will get to later as well. So given this situation in which we find ourselves, there is a great need in organizations for young professionals that, on the one hand, understand IT at sufficient depth, but also know how to apply it in an organizational context. People that can help to create and realize the opportunities that IT offers, but also help to control the flip side of that, the risks that IT might bring. In short, people that can help organizations to master responsible use of IT. So this is what this Master is about. And if you come to us and do this Master, you will become that young professional that can do these things. So what are examples of the questions and topics that we address in this Master? So what value does a given software system have for a given organization? This is one of the central questions. And there's a lot packed into that. So let's peel it off a little bit. So for instance, this is about the functionality of systems, software systems, IT systems, digital services, whatever you want to call them. The functionality is about what does it do? What services and business processes are actually supported by these systems? But there's more aspects to it. So for instance, usability, because is this functionality then offered with ease of use? Can you use it without effort, without training, or do you need to actually get a lot of very highly trained people to use it before you can actually exploit this functionality? Then there is other aspects like the operational side of things. What does it cost to build a system, deploy a system, and can it run actually without incidents? Or do you need to actually have a huge support desk because there's all kinds of flaws in your software that need to be repaired by people? Then a bit more on the long term, how do systems evolve over time? The world changes, business changes, systems need to be adaptable to new circumstances. Do these systems actually, are they able to scale when business grows? When you have more users, more transactions to process, do systems automatically scale with that? Or do you need to change them, adapt them, redeploy them, etc.? This is the aspect of the evolution of systems. Then there's the responsibility side. So especially in this age of AI, it has become clear that software systems can also do harm to people, that they need to be accessible to people, and that's not automatic. So the responsible use, the responsible deployment of systems is also an important aspect that we address within this Masters. So that means there will be all kinds of topics that we address in an intertwined way, of course, but here they are listed to, well, at least a couple of examples. So, for instance, let's start on the side of the cybersecurity and privacy. It's everything to do with responsibility, of course, but also with these incidents that I mentioned. Then there's the topic of architecture. How is a system built? That has a lot to do with the evolution, for instance. Then there's entrepreneurship, innovation. How can you actually bring systems to market? How can you change an organization to be able to take use of IT systems that you are developing? So all these topics play a role in this Masters. So, taking everything together, what we offer is business, management, and computer science education for future IT leaders, consultants, managers, etc. So all kinds of roles that are on the interface between IT and business is what we actually educate for. So focus areas there are management and application of IT in an organizational context, but also how to use IT to enable innovations in actual business functions like marketing, operations, finance, strategy, and of course the IT function itself. How can you use IT to accelerate and innovate those? And that means that we're not restricted actually to organizations that are in the private sector. So we do focus for some part of our master on private organizations. So that can be any type of business, from startups to large multinational corporations. And on the other hand, we look at the public sector, where IT is also very important. And that means public administration, government, ministries, but also, for instance, non-governmental organizations that make use of IT, for instance, for raising funds for charities or other things like that. So what does this mean for you when you come to this master? So probably you have some background in computer science or a related topic already. Some students have done a bachelor computer science that come to us. Some have a more mixed degree, like information sciences, or a more software engineering oriented bachelor. So mixed disciplines as well. But what happens when you come to our master, you will on the one hand expand your knowledge of IT. You actually go further into depth on the computer science side, and then not so much into the programming itself, but everything that's around it, like software architecture and evolution, cybersecurity and privacy, the modeling of systems, the development of systems, but also on the data side, data mining and analysis, and all kinds of data science topics, including AI and machine learning, etc. On the other hand, you will be developing business and organizational skills. So you will learn about the core functions of businesses like strategy, marketing, and finance function, accounting. But also you will learn about decision making, and in the public sector about policy making. Other topics on that business side are technology and operations management. How do you optimize systems? How do you make sure they improve over time and things like that? And finally, consulting and entrepreneurship are skills and competencies that you will pick up as well in this master. So by this, let's say, blend of these two angles, you will become a versatile IT professional that really understands how IT and business are intertwined, how they reinforce each other, how they are dependent on each other. And you will also learn to, understand professional language, professional conduct in an organizational context. And you will learn managerial skills either from, let's say, the more project level, IT project level, or more on the corporate level managerial skills. And all of that you will learn to do in a scientific, evidence-based manner. How is this curriculum then structured? How do we teach you all these things? Well, let's have a look at this curriculum as it is shown here in a schematic form. And let's start at the top, in the middle, where it says common courses. So these are the courses that all the students that pass through our program will be taking. And these common courses range from ICT architectures to leading and managing people. So there you already see a very technical topic versus, let's say, soft skills, managerial topic. And machine learning for business analytics is also one of the courses that are common to everyone. And finally, capstone cases. Well, not finally, it says ... because many more courses in this common module. But the capstone cases I want to highlight a little bit because it's a very interesting course where you as teams of 4 or 5 students, will actually be going into organizations where you will be challenged with a managerial IT-related issue to solve. Then you work on that as a team, doing design, doing market analysis, doing things like that. And then you go back into those organizations, into those companies, or sometimes public sector organizations, to present your findings, to present your solution and get feedback. It's a very nice course that will run throughout the curriculum because you will do 3 capstone cases throughout these 2 years. So those are the common courses, but because our students come from different backgrounds, we also have a number of foundation courses that you will be taking depending on your background. So for instance, if you have a very strong IT-related background already, for instance, you did computer science as a bachelor, you will be taking the module Foundation Business. That will level you up on the business side, get a number of essential skills to prepare you for the other courses. On the other hand, if your technical background is a little bit less extensive, you might be taking the module Foundation IT, where you will be taking, for instance, the course Introduction to Machine Learning. Then there's also students that already have a mixed background that is sufficiently strong, let's say, and they do not need to take a foundation module. Instead, they have more space in their elective courses to take up. And this is, for instance, the case for the informatics and informatics and economics students of our bachelor here in Leiden that can actually skip the foundation modules because they have already a mixed background of sufficient depth to be able to skip those. Then there's a space for elective courses, depending on whether you took this foundation module or not. That's a larger or a smaller part of electives. And then you are asked to choose a specialization. So either the specialization ICT in business or the specialization ICT in the public sector, depending on your interest. So what that exactly means I will show in a slide later, but you will take either 15 EC on one side or 15, it says 18, but it should be 15 EC on the other side, depending on your interest, and then that will also determine what goes onto your diploma as specialization. Then finally there's the research project. So you in your last year you will do you will do your own research. You will do a research project, and typically this is a in-company research project. So you will do a research internship at a company where you will be doing research that is of some relevance to that organization. And that is your project. You will be running it, but you will get a lot of support for that, which I will actually explain to you a little bit later. And the link below is the link to the e-prospectus, where you get all the details about all the courses, which I encourage you to have a look at, of course. So about choosing this specialization, ICT in business or ICT in the public sector. So of course, this is up to you, your own interests, but it's good to make an informed decision. So one of the things you need to know when you choose is that actually ICT in the public sector is not just about governments. This is about 25% of the economy, which is, of course, government organizations, but also non-governmental organizations, but also all kinds of other commercial organizations that actually work in the public sector. For instance, all the large consultancy firms also have large departments specifically working for the public sector and helping our government to build better IT systems for citizens. So this is a very large part of the economy, a lot to do there, and actually to a large extent it's very similar to what happens in commercial organizations. It does have its own dynamic in certain places, of course, but a lot of things are very similar. That's why also this is a combined curriculum where both the people specializing in business and those in specializing in business in the public sector have many courses in common. If you go for the ICT and business side, you will take, for instance, courses like entrepreneurship, AI for strategy, strategic financial management. If you go for the public sector, you will be taking courses like data-driven policy making or digital government-citizen interaction. So one on a very high abstract level of policy making, one on a very concrete operational level of how do you actually provide citizens with a good experience and with the right functionality to be able to take advantage of their rights. So this is about the choice between specializations. To give a little bit of a face to this master program, I put up literally a couple of faces, including my own. I am teaching software evolution. Managing software evolution is the full name of the course, where you will be learning how to deal with systems that have already been deployed but need to change and be adapted, and how do you actually drive that in a strategic manner. The capstone cases by Christoph, I've already talked a little bit about that. Cybersecurity is offered actually by Olga in the corner, and then data-driven policy making by Sarah in the other corner. So the public sector courses actually are offered by the Faculty of Governance and Global Affairs, which is located in The Hague. So also the courses that are around that topic, for that you will commute 11 minutes by train from Leiden to The Hague, or maybe you live in The Hague, then it's even closer. And then the other courses are offered by people working in the computer science department of Leiden, but also many teachers actually have a part-time position with us, and for the rest of their time they're actually engaged thoroughly in practice. They work in industry. So, for example, Mark Hilbert, who gives machine learning for business analytics, is head of a data science and AI team at Toyota in the automotive sector. For instance, Christoph, who teaches capstone cases, where you learn a lot about consultancy, he is actually 4 days per week a senior consultant at a large consultancy firm in the Netherlands. And there's many people like this that bring their experience into the classroom to teach you not only the theory about everything we have to teach you, but also give you a lot of practical insights in how this really works in these organizations. As I mentioned, in your second year, you will be doing your thesis research for 6 to 7 months working on that. This is usually in company, though sometimes people choose to do an in-house project. And what happens here is that you will be designing your own research, you will be executing your own research, and in the end you will be writing up your thesis where you present your research, and of course you'll be defending your research in a defense. What you typically do during these projects is investigate some problem, a problem that is maybe suggested by a supervisor or by a company, or you have come with that problem forward yourself, and you will be researching that within the context of an organization, designing and validating a solution, and also, of course, developing the right knowledge base and publishing about it in your thesis. You will be supported to do that in various ways. So first of all, before you start, you will get extensive instructions, and you will get pitches for potential projects in what we call the master class, where you will be prepared for this thesis research. Then during your thesis research, you will be supervised by academic supervisors, a supervisor and a co-supervisor, but also by a company supervisor. And also during the courses, you will be prepared for doing your research by a couple of courses on research methods, explaining you how to do this work in a structured and solid way. This is always a very exciting thing to do, and it's really finishes your thesis with a nice piece of work. And sometimes our students are able to then go on and publish this work in scientific conferences or present it on practitioner events. It's very nice to see this. Some examples of theses that have been written by our students in the past. These are some recent examples. And as you can see, yeah, they're very wide-ranging topics. So, for instance, something about chatbots, something about dashboards for the government, something about AI companies that have a different business model or operating model than regular companies, something about Scrumban, a mixture of Kanban and Scrum that is being used by some organizations. And this thesis went into depth to figuring out what's actually going on there and how advantageous that is and whether that can be improved in certain ways. Process mining, cybersecurity, all kinds of topics. So, yeah, pick up a topic that's interesting to you, that motivates you to do this work for 6-7 months in an organization, collaborating with people there, collaborating with your supervisors, and really getting an in-depth view of a topic that interests you. All right, so having said all this, covering the structure of the curriculum and giving a little bit of insight in that, let's go and look at the education experience. So this is a fairly small program. We get about 40 students every year. Some of them come in September, some of them come in February. We have 2 moments where you can enroll for the program. So it's a fairly small program that allows us also to do very interactive teaching. So we do a lot of case-based teaching. We have a lot of interaction within the classroom with your other students, with the teachers and the TAs, working both on theory and on its application in practical cases. It allows us to give you a very multidisciplinary experience, do a lot of teamwork, and allows you to not just absorb the theory about a lot of things, but also really in an experiential way apply it and learn about it. Yeah, this is possible also because we have very strong ties to industry, to the practice out there. As I already mentioned, we have many lecturers that are also active in companies or in the government, and they like to come into the classroom and share their experience with you. Also, they provide you with a little bit of network, for instance, to find a good place to do an internship. We also organize company visits during some of the courses. One of the examples for that is, of course, the capstone cases, but also in other courses you may do some company visits, getting an inside look in what happens there. And many of the thesis internships, as I mentioned, are in company. So that allows you, well, to build relationships, to open career opportunities while you're studying already. Also, yeah, it is, of course, a strongly science-based program as well. So we teach from the Leiden Institute of Advanced Computer Science, so the Computer Science Department of Leiden University, and from the Faculty of Global Affairs in The Hague, Center of Government in the Netherlands, and they provide the public sector courses for us. They also supervise the thesis work for students that are interested to specialize, for instance, in the public sector. What type of students will you encounter if you enroll in this program? What is the profile of the students that comes to us? So I've already mentioned it a little bit in the beginning. So they may have mixed backgrounds or a more pure computer science background when they come to us. So many students have done a bachelor in computer science or similar bachelor when they come to us, but some of them have done a mixed degree with some computer science and some other things. So for instance, some business informatics, information science, that kind of degrees are very welcome to our course as well. Also, students from applied sciences, universities, when they have a sufficiently high ending grade, are also welcome to apply for our program. So that means also there's a very mixed audience that comes, and a very mixed group of students. So you will meet all kinds of people, including a lot of international students. So between 30 and 50% of the students each year will be coming from abroad to come to study with us. So it also gives you very international flavor as experience during your studies. You will, during the studies, really broaden your horizons, getting to know a lot about managerial and organizational skills on top of the technical things that you will be learning. Also learning about strategy, about how to communicate strategy, how to communicate in general, your product vision or your value proposition, or how to communicate on this boundary between IT and business, where I know from experience there's a lot of essential communication to be done to make things run smoothly. So this is really for students that on the one hand are looking for considerable depth, theory, scientific foundation, that are interested in international orientation, but then want to really know how this gets applied in practice in organizations to later make a difference and have an excellent career in businesses or the public sector. That brings me to a part that's not part of the actual curriculum, but is enjoyed by a lot of our students. So there's quite a couple of student-led extracurricular activities. I've mentioned 3 on this slide. So one of them is that we organize our entrepreneurship-related courses together with Plant. Plant is the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship of Leiden University. And at Plant, there's also Plant Students, which is a student-led organization, association, that organize lots of activities around entrepreneurship and innovation. So if you are a student in our program and you're interested in these topics, I recommend you to become a member and join in these activities, meet a lot of like-minded students working on these things, but also get a lot of support, for instance, if you're interested in exploring whether you may or may not like to do some entrepreneurship yourself. So if you have in the back of your mind, maybe perhaps I would like to do something around a startup or found a startup or maybe work in one, then this is a very good place to be. But also what we call intrapreneurship, so entrepreneurial activities within larger organizations. Of course, you can learn a lot through these things. Then there's Science Meets Business, created by alumni of our faculty that organize monthly cafes where people from the campus here, from the science park, come and meet with students. There's little workshops, there is a lot of networking opportunity, a good place to find, for instance, an internship to do your research project later. A lot of fun and very useful. And then there's Nexus, which is linked to ICT in business and the public sector, the master, but also to the computer science and economics bachelor. And it's a study association specifically for those students, helping you with finding your way, doing some mentoring, for instance, but also organizing some nice company visits or trainings given by companies. A lot of fun. Then, the employment perspectives, and in short, there's excellent employment perspectives for students taking our master. The experience is that students often already have the job offers or already started a job before they actually entirely finish their courses, but definitely within 1 month after studying, the 100% of our students that want to have a job have a job. I'm excluding those that then go on a world trip or something like that. But those that want to have a job, they land one very easily. With this profile that you get through studying here, you are very, very sought after by lots of different organizations. I've listed some of the roles that some of our alumni have taken up right after finishing with us and the organizations where they did so. And the list is much longer, of course, but only so much fits on a slide. To summarize, and of course, this is also the moment for you to make sure that there's a couple of questions in the chat for me to answer after this. So to summarize, fairly unique program where management, organizational, and IT courses are blended together, and where you get both the scientific background and the applications of ICT in organizations, whether they're in the private or in the public sector. Where you will be working together with a fairly small, interactive, international group of students, doing a lot of project, case-based work and learning a lot. It's a 2-year program. There's 2 moments in the year where you can enroll. You get both the scientific foundation, but also we ensure a lot of practical relevance of what is happening here. And that's because we have, or one of the reasons is that we have teachers that have really a lot of industry experience and bring that into the classroom. And as I mentioned on the previous slide, excellent employment perspectives. So that concludes my presentation about the master, and I hope that there will be some questions from you. And yes, there are.
Yeah, there's a question.
Let's see. Yes, great. So I will read the questions and see if I can give you an answer. Yeah, there's a very good question there. Whether there's a pre-master program for those who need to catch up before the actual master program. Yes, we do have that. So if you apply for this master, then we will check what your background is. And if we see that with the background you have, the challenge to actually finalize the program within 2 years successfully is too high because you're missing certain things in your background, then we will ask you to do a pre-master, and there's a particular selection of courses that we will then make actually in collaboration with you a little bit. We will probably invite you to have a quick video chat with us so we can determine what is best for you, and then you can do a pre-master to get really prepared for the master. We offer that as well, indeed. Is there more questions? Well, unless one of you now types a question. Yeah, something is coming in. Ah, great. Let's see. How IT technical is this master? Yes, so very good question. So we do presuppose some level of technical background, but the master itself actually elaborates on that. Not so much, let's say, in the programming side of things, but much more in a multidisciplinary thing. So, for instance, when we pick up topics like architecture, you will be looking not just at the technical part of that, but also at who are the stakeholders, what are the requirements, and things like that. So there's a lot of non-technical material coming by as well. So, maybe anecdotally speaking, computer science students may either go for completely technical, in-depth, and then they should take a computer science master. But if they are interested in actually broadening their horizon and get a little bit more depth on the technical side, but also a lot more other things, then this is the program for you. An interesting question. Do you suggest the master program for those who have already 15 years experience in the IT sector? Actually, yes, that is not a strange choice, actually. So this happens before with some regularity that students, 15 years of experience is quite a lot, but at least with some years of experience, working experience in the IT sector, come to us to do a master with a specific motivation that it actually helps their career advancement, because they will then things that they have seen and experienced on the job, they actually get a theoretical foundation to understand it better, to work with it better, and then when they flow back into the organization or another organization, then they are more equipped to flow into different roles. For instance, from more technical roles to more managerial roles. So yeah, for those people also, this is a very good master program. Well, I think that concludes our session today. No more questions. So thank you for those questions that you asked. Thank you for listening to me. I hope that I've answered all your questions. I hope that I can greet you February, September in our program. If you have further questions for us, dig into the website, dig into the prospectus. But if your questions are not answered by those, feel free to shoot us an email, and we'll be in touch with you to answer your questions. This is a fairly small scale program, so we can also take the time to actually have a brief video chat with you to answer questions or to talk through your eligibility for the program. So feel free to send us an email, contact us, and we'll be in touch, and hope to welcome you later at Leiden University. Thank you.